Hi everyone, today I will be doing the usual, continuing from the last video clip in regards to my court case. It's quite evidential that my case is definitely a lockout case. I'm dealing with white collar crimes and blue collar crimes. These are to do with those working in public offices. So, and it's also a commonwealth game. So we're dealing with treason, we're dealing with corruption, we're dealing with people, secret societies stealing off innocent civilians. So basically this here video clip, I'm just actually proving the case as far as corruption is concerned. It is an illegal commonwealth game. It's so illegal in every sense of the word, but there's mixed match evidence, and it is global. Okay, so it's an illegal global game that innocent civilians are actually lured into it without even realizing what's up ahead, not even realizing that they could be endangering their own families and even themselves. Okay, I'm once again gonna just do the introduction, just bring everybody into the mindset of where my case is at. So just want you all just to keep in mind, I have definitely been used for illegal relationship scams involving all these women. And the whole idea is illusion and deception on their part, not my part. I'm the actual original. They're living off my energy. They've used me for a foot in the door, or like a competition really, versus my personality to theirs, and also using relationship scam to get their foot in the door, obviously. So there's several perpetrators. The most scary thing about this game, it is a global. Okay, so basically it's me contesting everything, and with the intention to have all those unlawful strike judgments made against my name and myself, have those all changed. Obviously they are unlawful strikes, and that is the evidence. They do know that my case has gone live, so that's up to them whether they want to do the right thing. But yeah, so basically all these women actually represent a country or an island or a state. So the whole trickery about the whole game is the originals don't even know what they've actually gotten themselves into in the beginning. Excuse me. I'd say some of these women do. Okay, so they're being supported by other coalitions, they call it, in the government, and so they're fully supported by these people to do what they're doing. The unfair fight in regards to what I've gone through is that they've used me as the original, like a generator. Okay, their whole intention of this game, and the evidence quite evidential, that they were going to eliminate the original. Okay, I mean, even just in the beginning when it first started, when I was working for my employer, I knew common sense what was happening to me was wrong. So just keep in mind, these women do not represent every single good people in their culture, or whatever, whatever nationality or culture they are representing. A defendant is a defendant. When they break the laws, they stand against the laws on their own. They don't represent everyone, their country. But the trickery about this game for the originals is that they don't know how serious and endangered they are. Okay, so that's, it's a conspiracy. It's diverted. It's several perpetrators who have actually schemed and planned and plotted after studying the original. And in this game, we're talking about home invasion. We're talking about illegal conspiracy, indirect by advanced privacy breaches. It is definitely a human trafficking in persons case. yeah, so it's a diversion of the system. Okay, so we're dealing with somebody's personal property, which is their profile, and everything to do with them as an individual. So basically, my court case has been going on since this, since the 4th of July 2016 up to today. Okay, so the year now is 2025. The date today is the 11th of September 2025. Okay, and saying that, no matter how long a case has been going on, it is definitely a case involving one human being myself. Okay, so I'm dealing with my personal property. I'm dealing about myself versus those who have actually used me by force without my permission and used me for trafficking reasons, and basically stealing everything, my good fruit or everything about myself, including my entity, or anything that I'm entitled to, tax evasion. So he's dealing with mixture of white collar crimes and cultures joining forces. So there's several parties involved or perpetrators involved historically in my case. So from the legal perspective, I'm dealing with my individual right as an individual independent human being. Okay, so the legislation do allow people to actually represent themselves. And so I'm dealing with myself being an independent person, my civil rights, and everything else that I'm entitled to as a human being. So for those that are new on board, my case has actually exhausted the system. It's gone through all the senior courts. So basically me doing what I'm doing, I feel I'm within my rightful space to do this, and it's working. It's a very serious case. There are a lot of people like me who don't play games with other people's liberty. It's actually really appalling is the word I'd use, but I don't know, it's just so inhumane. It's definitely crimes against humanity for the length of time that it's gone on, and other serious offences involving one person's profile. So if you're into criminology, I'd say my case is the perfect one, especially with this whole new age system of technology. It is evil, it is wicked. It's been connected to an evil spirit. They call, spiritually speaking, it's evil. It's the whole purpose for the opposing ally doing what they're doing is to kill and eliminate without getting caught. So home invasions taken place. The seriousness about it, and they're able to actually achieve their mission because of coding individuals, and then they're just operating through their coding system, and that's what they've done in my private life or in my personal property in regards to everything to do with me. And then because of the technologies, they're able to do criminal harassment by embedding their own people in your space, in your business, in your private life. So yeah, no one is actually really safe. I worked for the government for 17 and a half years. So when I started going through the privacy breaches in my life, I knew I was actually lured into something that I knew it was very wrong, but it was out of my control. And now after years of it, I'm actually able to prove that. Okay, so if you're into criminology, this is the new age system. So the way people are committing serious crimes, treason, committing, money laundering and stealing, deleting evidence, deleting people's existence, and it's because they're glued. They're actually glued to the individual they're using. Okay, so I need you to get all this in your mind. We're talking about a money laundering system. We're talking about trafficking rings involving, you could be trafficked for your organs, okay? So the black market for organs, the people are paying lots of money for organs these days. So it's easy to achieve, or whatever reason that people do what they do. But it's easier to do now because of the technology and the way things are set out. And they're just texting each other and stalking. They are using their vehicles, using their jobs. I'm telling you, they've done that to me. So I'm basically just, you're getting evidence from a person that is a witness to it. So yeah, I've been used for relationship scams involving my private life, okay? So they've tagged my first ex-husband, whom I divorced in 2006, and then they've tagged Rob Osborne and myself, and Pastor King too has been tagged. And not that I was in any, romantic relationship with him, but spiritually speaking, this is what they've done. And then Henry Cavill's probably probably he is the most recent person that I'm close to at the moment, and saying that they're interfering in my private business. They literally have used me for a generator, like a human generator, and using me for a foot in the door, and that's quite evidential. So that is a competition, but it's a global one. Obviously, he's very famous. He's worth a lot of money on his own. I know that my own worth and the things that I've gone through. It's real. I'm not, the type of person. I'm not into make believe stuff. The only time I'll do that is watch a movie or something, but. So what you'll be witnessing is actually a real life case, okay, real names, real judge's name, real me, everything, and I'm the narrator of everything to do with my cases. So we're dealing with a lockout situation. Okay, so welcome to Authentic Ingenuity Entrepreneur. My name is Minna Creighton. I'm the narrator of this video clip and every other video clip, and just keeping in mind that my YouTube channel is actually an exhibit for my court cases, and so is my Facebook page. So anything I use personally in regards to myself is my personal property and my entity. That was brought before the last court case, and with the judge just letting them know that that's what I'm dealing with, because other people have tried to claim my life and everything about me without my consent. So that's what we're dealing with here. And but they have used me for money laundering in the past. So all that, my whole motive and intent is to deal with all that too. Because they have used me for money laundering historically without my consent. So today is the 11th of September 2025. I will finish this video clip up with more evidence in regards to the court case that that's been pending or active. The first hearing was on the 8th of September 2010. Okay, so here's the court case evidence. I took a photo of the list in court. Okay, so this is normal if a judge is like, a list is usually put out in the courtroom, out in the foyer, excuse me, to let people know who is the judge, who is the court taker, and who is the cases. So when I went to court, I didn't expect Karen Ferris's name to be on court, like on the court list, because I had already had many correspondence with the court, because my applications were made against another Crown a barrister who took over the case. So I'm self-representing myself on this case. The judge for this day is, give a look. was, these here were the two court takers. Let's see. Here it is. There's the name of the judge. It was Judge Jarrett. And the court case was in courtroom 9 at 10 a.m. And yeah, my sister came with me as support. So just on that note, guys, my court case, the reason why my other family members didn't turn up is because everyone is affected with what's happened to me historically, because we're talking about home invasion. So the opposing ally has able to defame, to make it look like, you know, I'm on my own and nobody supports me, but that's not the case. The case is because everyone has been affected since my privacy is gone, and it's because of the system. So everything is intentional, and they the opposing allies in this case, it's the government. Okay, it's the Crown. So I'm the actual plaintiff in this case, and the Crown is the defendant. So when I read this, I wasn't happy. Like, they'd put up board that the application was actually to strike out my case, and they've even put New Zealand Police instead of IPCA, and then they put Karen Ferris there. All right. So if you've been watching my evidence, you can see quite clearly they're ignoring everything I'm saying, and their intention is to strike out. So I wasn't happy, okay, because I have abided to every single thing according to the court rules, protocols, and laws, and the legislation. But the Crown, in this matter, are doing their own thing, okay? All right, my case has been going on for a very long time, over 9 years, which is serious. So now my case definitely falls in the Crimes Act of serious violent offences. So whether I live or die, all these body corporates can still be made accountable because they've actually used me for slavery or slave-like or debt bondage. Okay, so it's 20 years imprisonment. It's actually found in the Trafficking in Persons case, and I was able to actually articulate this to the judge in the hearing, just to let the judge know. In regards to limitation laws, there is no limitation laws when it involves these kind of cases. But yeah, so that is basically where I am at as an individual, as far as evidence is concerned and can prove in the court of law. Okay. So keeping in mind that they've globally used me. So now we've got like agencies representing these defendants. And so some of the people that have committed offences upon myself, they've been people around the world, but they've linked themselves to the government here in New Zealand. So the people that are actually representing these defendants, for example, the relationship scams, obviously, you know, the good people go and arrest them for doing this and doing that. Then they've got to go get their lawyers. And then, so that's what's happening. The secret society's getting their lawyers. I'm a victim in the matter. But this explains why they're doing what they're doing, or the inciting and turning everything into a game. The relationship scam involving Natalie Vasky, so obviously she's deceived the public. I've been denouncing her and her lies and her imposter life, living of Henry's life for money, but they haven't been in a romantic relationship for over 3 years. Everything's just on the surface, okay? But basically it's just pure evidence of stealing somebody's life and other people's hard work while they're trying to, move on and get their life back. They're struggling and they're being pinned down by other people linking to them, if you understand what I'm saying. So we're talking about Crown Entities Act. We're talking about the government. So we're dealing with other people, other millionaires, billionaires globally representing those defendants, and so that's why they're sabotaging my case, and everyone seems to be doing their own thing. And they're cheating, and this also explains the unlawful strikes. So everyone is trading in influence. We're talking about coalitions, making deals behind the scene, and basically they, to them, I'm just an easy person to do what they're doing, but I'm just a prime example of probably of other people who've gone up against the same evil forces, not realizing what the heck is going on. But it is because these secret societies are cheating, they're coding, and they're helping each other secretly. A lot of them are just using their money to do the talk, and then they think because they've got the money they can just do whatever they want as far as the court system is concerned, but that is not so. Okay, so we're dealing with a blacklisted system. Okay, so I'm definitely been blacklisted for a very long time. So the case is up against Independent Police Code of Conduct. Okay, so because of the length of time, the Crimes Act 1989 definitely comes into my case. That's a law also in the Independent Police Conduct Authority legislation. So it's a strict and absolute liability. Okay, there's like undeniable offences to prove that. That alone is 14 years imprisonment. For those that watched the last video clip, I went over the starting. I just felt it's important to start from the beginning and how the process is. So I will continue that today. It's likely I may have to do another part because I want to actually, I feel I need to describe everything to do with my court case the best way I can. While we're waiting for the judgment, okay? To me, this is really important also because I'm talking about my liberty and my reputation, and the things that they're writing about me is not true, and I have not appreciated anything they've used me for, okay? Okay guys, just a reminder, I've already got video clips on this, but the starting point for New Zealand Police and Independent Police Code of Conduct is started on the 22nd of, I'm just trying to think of when they did the judiciary review. That's the first time the applications were submitted to court with the Ministry of Health and City Med through the judiciary review. I'm just trying to think on top of my head. I think it was on the 21st, on or about, I'll say to be safe, on or about the 21st of December 2022. But the courts did not process New Zealand Police and IPCA matters until the 9th of July 2023. Okay, even though I had requested it, I kept asking the courts, but the courts were ignoring me. So you can just actually ascertain in my case that I'm up against a system that has already made a decision about me and my life and everything else. Okay, so the minute of Judge Lester, he wrote a minute in regards to IPCA, and this is it here. So I've already responded to all this in correspondence. So the first the first barrister for the IPCA is actually Karen Ferris. So the judge took over was Judge Sussex. Okay. I have not been happy with the way my case has been dealt with as far as Judge Sussex concerned. She took about 6 months to actually write a judgment. I actually had to ask the court to make a judgment, because it was just too long, okay? I know that I actually won that case, but they were doing exactly what the other cases they were doing. They were buying time. Okay, so while they're buying time and I'm trying to go forward, the people that were surveillancing me were sabotaging everything I was doing. Okay, so it's quite a serious case. So Judge Sussex wrote a minute when Karen Ferris made a submission on the 14th of May, and it's quite obviously there's bias, and prejudice already. They already know that they were going to eliminate me, and that's quite evidential with the way they're responding. Some of my memorandums, the courts are not actually responding to them immediately, even though it's my case and I'm the plaintiff. And that's just a sign of trading in influence, or either the court registrar involving their case is already biased and prejudiced. But I am a lockout situation, and so this is just an evidence of what it is. So Judge Sussex took over, and she made direction. She's confirmed the counsel being Karen Ferris, okay? But all this also is my discovery, and I think everyone's realised that's linked to the government. I mean, I was shocked to find out that they were actually inciting about me and my case to the public, and the government seeking help, people in powerful jobs seeking help to the public to help them win a case. I mean, they're the defendant in the matter. So that's appalling on its own. Okay. So I was rebuking all that, and it's working, because that is not on. Okay. And they're using their sound effects to make threats in my space, threats to kill, and then they're using cars, trucks to make threats they're going to kill somebody, rubbish bags, knives. It's organised crime. Okay, so that is cowardice. But what I find it really disgusting is the government's seeking help to the public against a single female who is actually their victim, and they're using me to steal my ideas and making money out of my life. That is not integrity. That's corruption. So excuse me if you can tell in my voice I'm angry, because I am, and I have every right to. It's justifiable. They owe me an apology. I know I will never get it, and I don't care. And I make no apology for doing what I'm doing. So they can all just have the consequences for what they've done. So this here is Judge Sussex memorandum on this day. So what happens is when a new defendant comes on board, they have to get all the documents from the plaintiff or from the courts, okay? I don't trust the courts because I know that they've sent documents to the councils, to the defendants' councils, and they haven't given them everything. So I like to make sure they get everything, so then they can't say on the hearing, I didn't get that, Your Honour, okay? So I'm very efficient, and I know how the system works. And now, I can't even send stuff by mail because they're actually stealing my documents in the mail because they've got their people everywhere, because they're inciting and encoding globally, all right? So this here, because the judge has written a judgment, this is confirmation this person, Karen Ferris, is actually the barrister as a court record. Okay, so as soon as they are the barrister confirmed by the court and the party, which is me in this case, we've got a real court case going on record. Okay. So there, I've actually put in, the judge has actually written another memorandum, okay, because I'm giving her correspondence, but I can just tell by my the way the judges, or, not all of them, some of them, I can just tell that they're making bias and prejudiced decisions in confidence because it's up against one single person and they're actually voting who should live and who should die, basically. Okay? Which is wrong on its own. So, she wrote another letter because I made an application, so she made another application to a memo, and she's written in this one on the 14th of 2025. I told the judge that I've actually laid police charges against the Ministry of Health and City Med, which I know I have, okay? And so she's, they just think I'm a joke, right? So, and, they've been sarcastic and just, not professional. And I've asked a judge also to, I wanted the transcript because I knew I'd won. I had no intention of accepting this case as being, a final decision, okay? Because everyone's entitled to oppose that. So, and I did ask the judge several memorandums to actually, I wanted a transcript, okay, because we're entitled to, the parties in the case are entitled to the transcript. The other thing I have felt unfair, they expect me to, whatever I give to the court, I have to give to the Crown, okay, and I've done that. But the Crown are not doing that, okay? So I have, so you can see here, she's actually declined the hearing. I wanted a copy of the actual hearing, and I also had memo because I knew that they were going to change the judge, and they did. So I didn't know about the judge until a few days before the actual case. But the other reason why I wanted a memo was because I felt the judge needed to have or listen to the transcript so she too won't, or he won't make any another unlawful strike. But they've actually sabotaged my case. They've already made a decision about me. And obviously money is all about the money, okay, at the price of an innocent person. It's not good, okay? So this here, I'll just go with the next, okay? Let's see. Okay, so this here is Judge Sussex case, instruction, and she has actually made a direction right here for the IPCA to file a defense. Okay, so this is the memo and instruction I'm following. And so Karen Ferris is supposed to put in a defense on this date, 10th of July, 11th of July actually. But on 10th of July, she sent me an email, just an acknowledgement of my memorandum. And that's it. That was the last time I heard from her. Then on 10th of July, see how this is the actual court schedule, okay? And this is what they've done with everything to do with my cases. I feel that they're just using the scheduling system to drag out the case. It puts myself at risk because I know that my case is serious. It allows them a lot of time to murder somebody if they found them a threat. And believe you me, they've tried that on me. Okay? Okay, so I didn't respond to Karen Ferris at all because she didn't make any submission, and I actually notified the courts about that. That I wasn't going to, submit anything to her because she'd abandoned, as far as from my point of view, she's actually abandoned the case. But instead, Sean McCusker put in a statement of defense with admits facts. Like he's already admitted to some of the facts, And so I did enter a summary judgment on that statement of defense. Now, before I go on, I had actually put in a memorandum to the judge, okay? This one here in regards to all the memorandums. So you all got to keep in mind, for everyone watching me, I have had to move out, okay? I'm in a relationship with Henry Cavill. These people are intimately in my crap, intimately, illegally, and everything, okay? So it's quite clear that the sabotaging and their intention is quite clear what they were going to do, but it's the psychological and mental abuse that they're doing to me that's so wrong. Okay, acts of torture comes in this, okay, and consistent with all the public everything. So I did a memorandum for just a refresher. At this point in time, I had to actually move out of my apartment by the 30th of May. So I'm under tremendous stress because they're victimizing me. Everyone knows they're victimizing me. They're personally, intimately victimizing me, okay? What they're doing is sufficient to press criminal charges on whoever is behind it for conspiracy to commit murder. That's quite evidential after the fact. So I just got over this. Just hold on a moment. Okay. I don't know whether the judge is even reading my memorandums, but they're just ignoring everything. Okay. So I did respond to all the judge's memos, and I actually exhibited them for the application to enter a summary judgment. Okay. Just want to go over this. I feel they're rejecting me deliberately because they know I'm going public. It's a way for them to steal everything I'm doing. That's what they want. They want me to do everything for free. So the rejection, the sabotage, the negligent is intentional, but that can still make the government liable, okay, for conspiracy offences. So I've mentioned the synopsis argument, which I did. And lucky for the council, they got it quite early. I sent it on the 27th of August. So there's submission and evidence there that they got it, okay? And that was my next intention according to the judge's schedule. Okay, so I had to do in this memo just to let the judge that I was actually relocating. I was going through a lot at this point of time, and because, you know, while I'm trying to get myself out of this legally, you know, intervention, people were secretly abusing me in my space, stealing or just declining things and I also had a reason of belief that they were withholding things that I was entitled to legally by law, or they're giving it to somebody else. So that's what they've done to me historically, meaning that everything to do with me and to do with taxes and my benefits, all that has to be audited to make sure that no one is actually, you know, gaining benefit out of my life, because they're not allowed to do that. All right? Then that's what they're doing to me, and it's very likely they're doing that to other people. Okay, so keep in mind this is the schedule, all right? So Karen Ferris did not respond, so I didn't respond to her anymore. Okay, so instead, Sean McCastis responded, so I responded by a summary judgment to enter liability. Then he didn't respond either. See, because IPCA was supposed to respond on this date, keeping in mind the courts haven't confirmed him yet as the acting counsel or the counsel on record, even though I'd sent the memorandum. Okay, so I'm like, me as the other party, I was like, okay, well, he hasn't responded on this day, okay? And so I didn't respond. I mean, I had nothing to respond to. So I sent a memo to the judge that I wasn't going to respond to his memorandum he'd put on this day, and I actually sent that to the case officer and to the Crown that I wasn't going to respond, and I will address it on at the hearing on this date here. Okay, but the courts had made a decision that it was gonna be an application to strike out my file, even though he hadn't responded to the summary judgment to enter a liability. So the court hearing was quite interesting, and I'll start on that. Keeping in mind, I'm going through so much personally, so much stress. I'm only a human being, okay? So they've caused me so much stress mentally. It's just been overwhelming. They've dangerously endangered my life in so many ways. But to them, it's just a joke. Okay, it's an easy game to win and steal and take advantage of a victim. Okay, so I'm dealing with unlawful strikes. So what actually happened on the court day, when I went into court, I wasn't happy that their intention for the hearing had changed just because I didn't have the court fees. That's why they did what they did. Okay, so that's why they did what they did, and they've done that historically because they know my financial situation. They already know. I mean, they've pinned me down and they've taken me down financially. I can't get a job because they're all into that, They're stopping everything and they're stealing. They're stopping me from advancing financially, and they're counting my money. They're in my space. I mean, there's a clear case of home invasion, and it's quite clear their intention is to keep me pinned down while they secretly use somebody for money laundering, and that's what they've done. And the fact that the Crown is defending the defendants, and obviously the defendants got money, so they're paying them a lot of money to win a case. So that's what they're doing. They're cheating over somebody who needs, the courts had several options. They could have got me a Crown prosecutor to take over my case, but quite obviously, because I know what entails my case historically, they know it's a very serious case. It's involving perjury of all kinds. But anyway, so on I told the courts that's not fair. Everyone's cheating because I know that I've done everything according to the court protocols, rules, and legislation. And because I didn't have the court fees, and then I even applied for used the waiver fee, and that's the other thing. These coalitions are declining everything so they can win. They're declining me so they can win, but they haven't actually won. So, and that's quite clear because I'm challenging that as unlawful strikes. So we're talking about a global game involving tagging several perpetrators. I mean, some of these people have loads and loads of money, so I mean, I don't really have much chance other than just waiting for the right judge to take over my case, basically. So what actually happened on that day, he gave his application first, and while he was talking, and because I couldn't hear him but I felt that the courts were setting me up. Okay, I felt straight away. I knew they were going to do it. I'm used to it. And they know that everything in the court is actually recorded. So that's another thing, everything in court, for those that don't know, is recorded on the court record. Okay, it's part of the thing. It's part of the court system. When a court hearing is in process, everything is recorded. So I wasn't happy about it. It was, of course, quite clear that the motion was going to go towards the council going first. And I didn't know exactly what to expect on the day because I know that they've done this before, so I went in there prepared anyway. And I was, from my point of view, I was expecting my case to be dealt with the intellect to enter a summary judgment, but that wasn't the case. So basically the case was in favour of the Crown to strike out my application. So the judge I couldn't do anything about it because that is what the case officer, whatever they set up, the administration, that is what they told the judge. So the judge ended up being brand new in the case, a judge who doesn't know the history of a case. And so Crown gave his application with the intention to strike out. The thing was, he had used, as you can see here, I sent them an email about the synopsis, okay, and my impression was the judge didn't even get my synopsis, all right, and my impression was the judge didn't even get my enter a summary judgment application, okay. Instead, the council had put in, he read this application on the 25th of 2025, okay. So he started his case, and I'm like, and I actually stood up to object, and I addressed the court and I said, oh, excuse me, ma'am, I don't even think it's relevant for him to even, for council to even refer to that submission, because I hadn't even responded to it, okay. So because I felt that's not fair. He's going on about application that I hadn't even responded to it. I told them I wasn't going to respond to it because he hadn't even responded to, I'd already followed Judge Sussex instruction. But anyway, the judge allowed him to talk, and I was just writing down things while he was talking. So that was the beginning of the case. Okay, so now it's my turn to talk. It was clear that the judge didn't have this or read the synopsis. That's my indication. It was clear that the judge was only in there to strike out the application of everything to do with my court case, okay. So, and it was clear to me that the judge was being misinformed, okay. So, but the judge was really good. I told her that I wasn't, that it was supposed to be she could tell that I wasn't happy with the way the court started and the intention of the Crown, okay. Their intention of the Crown, wanted to strike out my case. So what I did was, and lucky, I've been working day and night, and I always go into court prepared, because you just don't know what's going to happen. You can say you're going to do this, and with what I've gone, they've gone against everything. Everything. They've just done the opposite. That's illegal, but that's what is the case. So it was my turn, and I felt I would take in a synopsis opening. I prepared. I knew, I didn't even know, because I'd asked the court. I wanted an adjournment. I needed I wanted a 2-day hearing, and the courts wouldn't give me that, because they said that day was set down to actually strike out, the application. It was just for me to prove my case against the Crown. So the judge was really good. She let me talk. So first of all, I kind of went along the lines about, I wanted to cover all the key elements of the case, letting the judge know that we can represent ourselves in New Zealand, okay, because that's what the opposing allies are taking advantage of someone. They've really defamed me in a negative sense, but it's purposed, so then they can win, obviously, okay. So anyway, I had to kind of walk the judge through. Just one moment. Just bear with me. I'm just trying to find my opening synopsis. Okay, guys, I'm going to actually end it there, because I can't find my opening synopsis, so I will find that, and I will continue and finish the case after on the third video clip of this case. But I can tell you that at the end of the court case, I won the case on the legal terminology of everything. Basically, it was a very, very serious case at the end, and I felt that I had convinced the judge with that. I felt it was important to go through the court system as far as the court processes. I wanted to prove to the judge that the council and the courts had been trading in influence, and when it's a new judge, they're a civil judge, I also had to prove to the judge that the case is actually a criminal case, and I did that. So at the end of the court case, I felt whatever the outcome was, I felt before God and before everything, I knew that I'd already won. Okay, but it was basically just proving the facts that I can still represent myself, even though I'm the plaintiff, and even though with my situation financially, it is not my fault. Okay, I am not where I am. If anything, people have used me for money laundering to make themselves rich. They are stealing my trade secrets of my court cases and using it for themselves. So people have just taken turns doing that. I'm not where I am financially because of my own doing. And so I will go over that on the next video clip. I will go over my side of what happened on my side. And in fact, it's actually appalling and really embarrassing for the Crown. Okay, I find what they're doing to me so wrong. Okay, they're using the court system, making everything private to protect themselves at the price of an innocent person's life. Okay, but like I said, the court case ended up being really interested. And so the next video clip I will put out will be about my time. Okay, so council basically focused on striking out my application at this case, when he actually spoke, and then when it was my turn, and I didn't have much time. They made things really, I had to rush, but lucky me, I know that I did very well. I knew I went in there all prepared. And I got away from the hearing with a good feeling, knowing that I'd done everything correct, and I felt that I'd made a submission and covered everything that I wanted, because I actually wanted a couple of days because I knew it was my case. But as you can tell already, the trickery that the Crown has done to win a case, and then the deception for the judges, for misleading the judge. I thought I'd end it on this note. We're talking about misleading the judge. Okay, so I can confirm that on this day, I ended up showing up the Crown. Okay, only just by me doing everything correct according to the court rules and protocol. Also proving that my case, the limitation laws do not apply. Also proving to the court that I'm actually the aggrieved victim, and that the case has been going on illegally for over 9 years. And we're also dealing with good faith and bad faith. Okay, so it was actually really legally by law, it was an embarrassing case for the Crown. So on the next hearing, I will go over my case, and I just say I don't have time at the moment because I've gone on too long already with this case. But I will, on the next clip, I'll finish up everything. But I did win my case legally, and also I know that I left there with a good feeling of convincing the judge. The only way that the Crown could actually win was proving the fact that it was bad faith on that that I had to prove that it was bad faith on their part, and I felt that I did that. But this, just the whole trickery, the confusion, the change, the shift, clearly articulates, that a very wrong spirit had already made a decision that I wasn't going to win. But it's the acts that they are doing, it's the bias and the prejudice. Obviously, I was shocked to even realize, or my own personal discovery, that everything about me is going before the crown, the government, like I'm some kind of an object. That's illegal on its own. That's why I've been denouncing it. I've been brave to denounce it, because that is wrong. Okay, but it also explains why I'm being pinned down and can't go forward. So I will finish it at that. Sorry if this video has taken too long, but I will cover, the next video clip will be part 3, and I will cover my version of facts and what happened in the actual hearing. Okay, thanks.